How does the human genome provide evidence for a creator? Well, this is a really important question these days because we are now living in the scientific era of genomics. In 2000, researchers sequenced for the first time the entire human genome, the entire genetic makeup of human beings. And this inaugurated the science of genomics. And we now today have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of genomes available to us to study. And this has opened up an area of science called comparative genomics. And when people have examined the human genome, at least initially, after the human genome was sequenced, they drew the conclusion that the human genome seems to be cobbled together by evolutionary forces. When people looked at the human genome, they thought that most of the human genome consisted of junk DNA, non-functional DNA that was just the leftover vestiges of an evolutionary history. But shortly after the human genome sequence was available, people began to make some remarkable discoveries. They began to discover that different types, different classes of junk DNA actually play a critical functional role. And this insight culminated with the ENCODE project, which is now in phase 4 of the project, where scientists working on the ENCODE project have concluded that virtually the entire human genome is involved in some type of biochemical activity, much of which appears to play a critical function for the human organism, for human biology. In other words, we've had an entire about-face with regard to our view of the human genome. It's gone from a wasteland of junk to now a highly fertile ground for making the case for a creator. We are currently in our infancy when it comes to our understanding of the genome. But as we begin to learn more and more about the genome, we're seeing more and more evidence that the genome is elegant, that it's sophisticated, that it's going to inspire advances in systems engineering as we begin to understand how gene regulation takes place, how gene expression is controlled. So far from being, again, a wasteland of junk, the human genome really does indeed appear to be the type of biological system we would expect that a creator would produce, particularly for human beings who are the crown of his creation. If you want to know more about the revolution that's taken place in our understanding about junk DNA, I would invite you to check out the book, Who Was Adam?